You can start the recording. Dear professional, guest participants, and all the well-wishers to APPNA Merit Group, Assalamu alaikum and welcome, all of you. So today we have a great speaker, great entrepreneur, great professional, Dr. Murtaza Najabat, who is going to share his journey about the medical devices and entrepreneurship, the technological entrepreneurship in Pakistan, the issues, the landscape, and the new dimension. And then we have among the panelists, Mr. Asad Zadi from the Bay Area, who is also an entrepreneur and a techpreneur, I must say, in the medical perspective, and there for the last few decades into this journey. So in the second part, he will be just commenting and sharing his views about the talk. So we all welcome Dr. Murtaza Najabat. And Dr. Murtaza, please start with your introduction. Thank you very much.
Recording in progress.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I believe आप सब ठीक हैं. My name is Dr. Murtaza Najabat Ali, and I'm currently working as Chief Executive Officer at Innovative Health Technologies. I'm also Director at Medical Devices Development Center at NUST University, and I have another role as a professor at Biomedical Engineering Department, which I'm going to share with you very soon. So this is my introduction, that I've studied in 3 different universities from UK, and I, being the chartered engineer from UK Engineering Council, also member of Institute of Mechanical Engineers. I'm also professional engineer at Pakistan Engineering Council and Higher Education Commission Pakistan. I used to be the director at National Engineering and Scientific Commission NESCOM Pakistan, where I sort of established first R&D and pilot scale production unit pertaining to coronary stents in Pakistan way back in 2006. I am also the founding HOD of Biomedical Engineering Department at NUST, and currently I'm Chief Executive at Innovative Health Technologies, which is actually a commercial arm. You may call it it's basically a public sector company for the sole purpose of commercialization of medical devices we are producing at Medical Devices Development Center. So this concept actually initiated approximately 16 years ago. So this journey of my career in Pakistan is basically Pakistan's journey with respect to medical devices, because we are the only ones in Pakistan who are indigenously not only carrying out research and development on medical devices, we are also producing it and selling it, and very cost effectively. And these all devices are good quality. We have international partners who are working with us. A lot of collaborations we have where we are bilaterally engaged. So this actually a concept of academia industry linkage, which we use as a term in most of our forums and talks whenever we are engaged in in that kind of activity. So this is actually a physical manifestation of that academia industry linkage. So I let me start with my journey. So this is actually the sequence of my talk today, and I'll start with my 16 years journey in Pakistan. And it all started in 2006 when I developed a stent in one of the labs in the UK university, and it cost me about 2-3 British pound. I still remember that, and I wrote, and that was actually a motivation factor, and it was basically a game changer in my life. And I wrote a letter to the then President General Pervez Musharraf that I would like to render my services for the country, and I would like to come back and set up something in Pakistan where we can, conduct research and development on different medical devices, and we can produce such devices, because most of the people are deprived of such devices in Pakistan. In Pakistan, as you all know, we are 100% dependent on imported medical devices. So, to my good luck, that letter forward President of Pakistan, he forwarded that letter to different organizations, especially the research and the organizations who are engaged in research and development, like NESCOM, like Ministry of Science and Technology, and Pakistan Science Foundation. So Chairman NESCOM, Dr. Samul Baritman, he contacted me in 2007, in 2006, and to cut the long story short, I came back here just for a meeting, and I wasn't sure that it is going to be an interview. So it was a long interview, and they were intending to set up a pilot scale production facility for coronary stents. So they, I got hired after that interview, and I bought some time. I went back and I had to sort of wind up everything in UK. So I came back in 2007 and I joined NESCOM. I recruited my team of engineers and technical staff like scientists and other research associates. And I sort of took my team along with me to Germany with to my industrial partner, because I physically worked in Germany in different manufacturing units, in two of the most significant industries in Germany, and I received a lot of trainings and certification from Europe with respect to medical devices and their production and their research and development and their regulatory pathway, things like that. So I took my team to the Germany. I got them trained, and I brought that production technology from my German partner and back to NESCOM. And after a few months' time, we established that we commissioned all that technology, and we started developing first stent in Pakistan. It was basically made of stainless steel. It was a medical grade 316L alloy, stainless steel. It was in vogue at that time, but right now it is obsoleted. So we developed first stent in Pakistan, and we collaborated with AFIC, and we sort of formulated one team over there, a team of cardiologists who supported us in lab-based testing and everything. And in 2009, Dr. Saman Mubarak Mandi got retired, and the new management, it came, and they decided not to, take it further to commercial scale, and I had to leave NESCOM in 2009 because the NESCOM management, they didn't have any intentions to take it further. So I I chose to leave that project, and I went back to UK, and then I went back to University of Queen Mary, University of London, where I did my MPhil, and then I went to University of Sheffield after subsequently for my PhD, and then I was working there in my as a postdoc, and I was teaching there and doing some research in Proto Research Institute at University of Sheffield, and where into 2013 I came back and I joined NUST University, and I established biomedical engineering department, and also set up research labs where I started my research in Pakistan in 2013. So in 2014, one of the PC1s related to the establishment of uh, a production facility of angioplasty balloon catheter at NUST got approved. The moment that PC1 got approved, I went to NESCOM chairman, uh, and I started requesting him to transfer that stent production facility at NUST, because they were only producing stent, and you know that, yeah, you have to have angioplasty catheter. It's a balloon catheter is basically a delivery system. So they were not producing delivery system. They were only producing stent, and the government of the federal government, Ministry of Science and Technology, got funded me for the facility at NUST for balloon catheters. So again, to cut the long story short, it took me uh, it took me some it took they were like, some very major issues. I had to deal with, and it took me like few months to, just to convince the management of NESCOM. Then we engaged Ministry of Science and Technology, because the Stent facility in 2006, which I established at NESCOM, it was also funded by Ministry of Science and Technology. So again, the facility about angioplasty catheter at NUST, was funded by Ministry of Science and Technology. So that donor, the sponsor was same. So I managed to convince Ministry of Science and Technology that NESCOM, they are ready to transfer this stent technology at NUST. So uh, Ministry of Science and Technology became third party, and they transferred the entire stent manufacturing facility at NUST, where I was having already angioplasty balloon catheter facility. So in 2016, the entire stent manufacturing facility of the worth rupees, about 55 million, it was transferred at last. And then there was another miracle happened for me. It was a miracle, though it wasn't good thing. Um, Practically and ethically it was wrong, but uh, substandard and expired stents, they were implanted in Punjab, and Supreme Court of Pakistan, and they took a very serious notice. And Prime Minister office, uh, they they called upon me and Dr. NUST, and we used to go there, and for as an expert, and they were dealing with that issue. And there they gave us an objective, and they gave us this project that we should establish a purpose-built medical devices center at NUST University. So in 2017, this center is started after the approval of PC1 through Ministry of Science and Technology. And again, I took my team to my German partner industry for the training, and we procured the production technology, including machines and testing machines from Germany, and then we came back and we commissioned and installed all that technology here in Pakistan. And in 2019, uh, after when the entire facility was functional, the European inspectors, they came and they extensively, inspected that facility, and eventually that facility got the certification from European Commission license notified body. And then eventually, GRAP inspectors, they came and they audited that facility, and they gave us the manufacturing license. As far as the products are concerned, uh, we there were like more than 70 different tests. They were conducted in one of the renowned testing facility at Germany. So we produced those lots, and we sent those lots to Germany for non-clinical testing, including biocompatibility testing in small animals like albino mice and New Zealand white rabbits and mini pigs. And after the successful completion of those 70 tests, we again sent lots to American Heart of Poland for large animal study, and and that study was actually a comparative study with the entire international counterpart from Abbott company. And after the successful completion of that animal trials in Poland, we initiated human trials in three of the public sector hospitals, which were conducted by which was conducted by Emory University. There's a heart and vascular center at Emory University, Georgia, Atlanta, and that university, we engaged that university to come up with the protocol, to come up with the study protocol. And then they conducted uh, human trials in different hospitals in Pakistan in native population, and they collected the data, and then they analyzed that data, and then they compiled that the clinical trial report, which we use for product registration at RAP. So So this is actually 16 years long journey, right from the first development, the initial development of a stent in UK lab till the completion of Medical Devices Development Center at NUST. And when the Medical Devices Development Center was completed, it was uh, it was inaugurated by Prime Minister, uh, where we invited most patients from different provinces who got our stents during the trials for the last 1 year, and they were recovered and they were healthy. And the Prime Minister met those patients, and we even invited those cardiologists who used our stents and implanted those stents in different patients. And that was very, you know, a good moment in my career, because it took me 16 years to reach to that level. And then the government decided that, we should establish a public sector company uh, 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 for the commercialization of these products. So Innovative Health Technologies was formulated last year with the direction and decision by the government of Pakistan. So, so these are some of the testimonials from different uh, high-ups and some dignitaries from the cardiologist side, from patients. Most of the patients, they were labor, they were salesmen, they were like, they were running their small businesses. So present production facility. So this is actually the present production facility, and we call it Unit 1. And why we call it Unit 1? Because we are setting up Unit 2 right now. And I will share with you its objective and its configuration in a while. So this is actually the cardiovascular plant, and where uh, we are producing 4 different products. We are producing diagnostic angiographic catheter, angioplasty balloon catheter, bare metal stents, and drug-eluting stents. And we are going to launch our 5th product by next year from this unit. That is going to be polymer-free drug-eluting stent, which is uh, in vogue right now and has been launched globally and even in Pakistan now. So, and along with this production facility, there are like multiple labs, and there's a complete research wing which is constantly working on different upcoming products for this production facility. And some of the products which we are not intending to we are not where we are not intending to establish its production unit here, and we are not intending to launch it here in Pakistan. We are sort of transferring that technology to different parts industries in Europe, and those technologies. As far as those technologies are concerned, I will share with you shortly. So this is actually the current scenario where we are in the phase of setting up Unit 2, which is for electromedical plant. And in the wake of COVID, we took one challenge, that we started developing ventilator. There were like other groups in Pakistan, the other defense industries and some private sector companies who also undertook this challenge. But Alhamdulillah, uh, we developed this ventilator. It's a high spec ventilator, and it went through all the necessary tests and trials, and now it is under the process with RAP. And along with that, in parallel, we are setting up the electromedical production facility, which is Unit 2 for the ventilator. We have also developed powered air purifying respirator, which I will show you. Uh, and it went through all the trials successfully. And in Pakistan, it is very expensive, because all the PAPR devices, they are being imported right now, and we are going to launch it very cost effectively. So these are some of the products which are currently in the market. As I've told you, that there are 3 products, and there's a 4th product which is going to be in the market by the end of this year, and the 5th product is going to be floated in the market by next year from the cardiovascular plant. As far as the electromedical plant is concerned, I will show you its products shortly. So these are some of the details related to the funding from the federal government we received. So I'm actually running two different domains. One domain is the production, the another domain is research wing. So production domain entails both plants, plant one and plant two. Plant one is cardiovascular and plant two is electromedical. And the research wing is comprises of different labs. We are working, we've got biomaterials lab where we are developing different polymers, degradable polymers. We have developed in the last few years different drugs, natural drugs for anti-restenotic drugs, anti-thrombotic drugs, anti-cancerous, carcinogenic drugs, and we filed patents for it, and some of the compositions we sold to the industry. Same goes for the technology. I've got my software house. We all the machines and technology which we are developing, we have our own software and it is patented. We have our own subtractive and additive manufacturing facility in the research wing where we are developing these products. And so these production facilities, as far as the production facility is concerned, it is certified from European Commission. We've got a manufacturing license from Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan, and we have even initiated CE marking of some of the products which are in the market because we are also planning to initiate exports in coming years. So this is I already shared with you. That was actually the sequential journey of the products that they went through non-clinical testing in one of the German testing laboratory, and then they went through animal trials in large animals in Poland, and then we conducted multi-centric human trials with Emory University in Pakistan, and now these products are registered with GRAB and um, they are being commercialized right now. So these are some of the future upcoming products. These are all these products. They are halfway in their R&D cycle, and some of them will be in the market in the next year, and some of them will be in the market by the end of this year, or some of them will be in the market in the subsequent years. So let me show you. This is our diagnostic angiographic catheter. This is actually the fourth product, and it has been funded by Pakistan Science Foundation. And our capacity, initial capacity, is about 40,000 units per annum. And I will share with you my next plan after plant two, that we bought quite a big land within NUST campus, and I'm planning to set up to expand this production facility, both facilities, both cardiovascular and electromedical, so that we can meet 100% or even most of the demand of the country, and we can initiate the exports and generate some foreign exchange for the country as well. As you must know that only cardiac stents and catheters, the bill, the foreign exchange import bill is about 8.5 billion rupees every year, and 100% our 100% reliance is on imports. So initially we are planning to relieve the government from foreign exchange, to cut down the foreign exchange, so that there will be a budgetary relief for the government, and in the next phase we are trying to generate foreign exchange for the country. And I've been working with a number of European industrial partners as far as the production is concerned, and I'm working with number of experts and researchers and professors in Europe and in UK, from my research wing, as far as the R&D is concerned related to the upcoming new products. So this is going to be the fifth product. This is polymer-free drug-eluting stent. It is very expensive in Pakistan. It has been launched globally even in Pakistan, and we are it is under R&D phase. Our one drug-eluting stent with the name Endeavor is already in the market. So this drug-eluting stent, we are planning to launch it by next year. Its R&D is under process, and there's going to be we are all, as I told you that we are producing and selling angioplasty balloon catheter, but that is semi-compliant. So this is also going to be the next product very soon. This is non-compliant rapid exchange angioplasty balloon catheter. Same goes for guiding catheter, because we are also uh, setting up production line for diagnostic angiographic catheter uh, at my facility. So guiding catheter will be the next product. So this is actually the power air purifying respirator which we developed, because all the why we developed actually, because all the regulatory bodies in the developed countries, especially in US and European countries, they have restricted their surgeons and physicians that they should not wear N95 and N99 masks during long surgical or clinical procedures. Instead, they've recommended this powered air purifying respirator device with the headgear and with antibacterial and viral filter. So it gives you a positive pressure so that you can breathe easily, and it is very comfortable for long procedures. And it is basically a PPE device. You can even wear it in chemical industry and even in fertilizer industry. You can wear it wherever the environment is contaminated for occupational hazard. So in Pakistan, Mayo Hospital and Aga Khan and that kind of hospitals, they are importing it, and one unit is costing them about 300,000 rupees, and we are aiming to launch it less than 50,000 rupees in Pakistan, and that is reusable. You can wipe it, you can wash it, so it's a very good product. Along with this product, this is again powered air purifying respirator. We are setting up its production line right now, and that's a ventilator. It's a high spec ventilator, and you can this ventilator is having all the modes, and there is a compressor also which is not showing here in this picture, but that's a separate module which you can integrate with this ventilator, and then you can use this ventilator in a hospital setting where you don't have any ICU. So in Pakistan, most of the hospitals, they don't have proper ICUs and CCUs, and you can integrate that compressor, and you don't need any sort of central air or oxygen line from the hospital, and you can use it for non-ECU settings. Even and without the compressor, you can use it for ICUs, and even if we remove the trolley, you can use it for ambulatory purposes as well. This is actually oxygen concentrator. In Pakistan, especially in COVID condition, there is a huge demand of this product. Even the demand is more than the ventilators, because even if you can see the scenario in India, there is a acute shortage of oxygen, especially in the last few weeks. You must have seen media, and you've seen that there was a huge shortage of oxygen supply. So even in Pakistan, uh, uh, the supply chain is always been an issue in Pakistan. So this product is very useful, especially for ambulatory purpose, for ICUs, for CCUs, for critically ill patients. And we are aiming to launch it in a very cost-effective way, and we are also aiming to launch this product in two variants. One of them will be portable with the battery support, and this one, as you can see here, is going to be the actual concentrator. Same goes for the syringe pump for chemotherapies and other IV, where in Pakistan, it's very costly, and we are aiming to launch this product in after the completion of my building, which for electromedical production. Uh, so we will, inshallah, launch this product very soon. And these are some of the products which I will share it with you. I've already in talks with you some of the with one of the groups with respect to intracranial stent, but the rest of the four products I've licensed out. I transferred these technologies to the industry. I've not used these technologies in my own production area. Uh, I'll start with smart moon device. Why? Because this device was very ambitious and it was basically a luxury in Pakistan. So most of the clinicians, they were reluctant in using this device, but in European in countries, people, they were very much inspired and they were impressed, and they sort of purchased this technology. And and this is a novel concept in the world. This is basically a wearable device. It has two modules. One module, and you can just wear it on any wound. This is a flexible device. It can conform to any any kind of contour or bend, of related to the human limbs and body. So what it does actually, it has two modules. One module has a sensor array. It detects and it gives you the wound health factor. And the next module is the program drug dispensation module. It has a reservoir, and whatever is your wound health factor, your doctor will prescribe you something, and then you can use that medicine, um, and you can fill the reservoir of the second module of this device and set your desired regime, and this device will release the drug in a very sustained and programmed fashion accordingly. So that was actually a new concept. So we sold this technology. There was a person in UK. His name is Steve Martin. He flew back here in Pakistan, and we demonstrated this device to him, and then we went into TOT, transfer of technology agreement with him. Same goes with this device. This is actually fascia closure device or suturing device. There was a few years ago, there was a physician. He came back from US, and he became the head of liver transplant department at Shifa International. And somebody told him about me, and he came to me and he said one of his colleagues, while he was conducting abdominal surgery and he was suturing it, the patient was HIV positive. So he got the needle stick injury. So that was actually the motivational factor. So, and the driving factor that for this consultant who came to me, and he said, I would request you to develop a suturing device, a fascia closure device for me, and we will file patent, and eventually, if the device will be functional and will be operating in in a proper manner after the tests and trials, then I would like to set up its production line with you. So what happened? We developed this concept, we prototype, and we conducted some tests on cadavers, on artificial skin, and some skin samples. And we there was a unveiling ceremony that took place at Shifa International Hospital with respect to this device. And after a few days, and we transferred this technology to them. And after a few days, I learned that that physician, uh, you know, he got some trouble with the management and he left back. And that was the end of this technology. Even I didn't take any initiative because I was too much occupied in other things, and this device is just a prototype right now. And Shifa International, they are not intending to set up its production facility because the physician left that organization. So this is another. Uh, I just forgot to mention one more um, domain in my life. that in 2014 to from 2014 to 2016, when the Prime Minister office, they called me and they gave me this national level assignment. Before that, apart from my other roles, I was also running my own company. It was Counterintuitive Technologies. And within that company, I initiated that company from Technology Incubation Center at NUST University. And after a few months' time, Allah has been very kind and we got the orders and everything. And we moved that company to the Islamabad industrial estate and we took about 5 canal land, and we set up a complete production facility for neonatal ICU related products like neonatal baby incubators and phototherapy lights and things like that. And we started selling those technologies in Pakistan, and we won all the tenders in Pakistan in that during that period. All the military hospitals and public sector hospitals, most of the hospitals, even in private sector hospitals, we sold baby incubators and phototherapy lights, very cost effectively. If I just give you some comparison, at that time, one baby incubator was about, I'm not talking about the Chinese one, but the good European one, it used to start about 14 lakh to 15 lakh rupees. And we were selling our product at the cost of about, the price was about 75,000 rupees. And we even donated more some units to different NGOs and different neonatal ICU wards. So I was running that business during that time from 2014 to 2016. And during that time, I also started giving technological automation related solutions to the Salcourt surgical industry and even football industry. And we started giving them, we started converting and transforming their manual processes into automated, and so that they, in order to minimize their production fluctuations as both quality wise and cost wise. So uh, uh, they started reaching out to me, and I started giving such technologies which I mentioned in this slide. This is a sorting machine for the football industry. You can see in the screen this picture, there's a pentagon. So in football, you've got two kinds of panels. One is hexagon and the pentagon. So they were just doing it manually. So we gave them this machine so that, once their magazine is filled, then there'll be separate baskets for both panels and they'll be sorted very easily and very quickly. So same goes for surgical instrument counting machine, which we installed one of the surgical industry in Pakistan. So now coming back to another domain, which is very important to me, and that is actually my upcoming services. And upcoming services is, as I've told Dr. Uzair a few minutes ago, that we are going to set up a stent and catheter production facility in Iran very soon. And we are just coordinating dates with them right now. And we've got a very well furnished and well organized and microbiology facility within our production facility, because we need that kind of facility apart from quality department. And in quality department, I've got very experienced quality control and quality assurance managers and technical people and regulatory managers who are dealing with different notified bodies. But microbiology facility is the core of the production facility, because these microbiology inspectors, they have a role that uh, all the time, they are conducting tests on different operators, on different machines and different stations and in different parts of the production area, and they are checking the colony forming units. I mean, they are controlling the microbial load of the production facility, because we've got clean rooms of different classes. So their role is to control the microbial load of the production facility and of the production team. And there's another role that, and there's a list of tests which they conduct all the time. And they have another role which is actually sterilization of the product and sterility assurance test of the product. So after the sterilization of the product, there is a clean room. There's a separate clean room which is for sterility assurance test, and there's a there are few tests which they conduct, and they validate that, and they check and ensure that the product is sterilized. And after that test, once they clear that lot, and then we took sort of place that lot into finished goods store and then dispatch it to the relevant hospitals. So what we are doing actually, we are trying to uh, get accreditation of this microbiology facility, because the entire Sialkot is asking for it, because they are getting that kind of testing for their surgical instruments from India, for a country like India, and from Europe and some other countries, and it is very expensive for them. So we are trying to get accreditation of this microbiology facility, and once we will get it, then this microbiology facility will be expanded, and one component of this facility will be used for our production facility, and one part of this facility will be used for the commercial activity and for commercial services, especially for Salford industry. And there are a few European industries which are also asking me for such services, because from it's very expensive in Europe. Secondly, my research wing. My research wing is very well, what do you call it, well equipped. It's We have a very good team of scientists who are experienced, and they've got quite a big experience in different R&D projects pertaining to the development of medical devices and biomaterials and drugs and polymers. So what we have done here, apart from there is they have there's a two-pronged approach happening in my research wing. One approach is to develop upcoming products. So there is a dedicated team in my research wing who are all the time, they're constantly working on the upcoming products, because it's a research-driven industry, and there's a product life cycle associated with all the products. If we are not uh, in sort of updating our products, all so after some time or after a few years they will get obsoleted. So what we are doing actually, there is a dedicated team within my research wing who are only working on the upcoming products, and there is another team. What they have done actually, that is remarkable. Initially we procured all the production machines and testing machines from Germany, and now we have 90% of, if I'm making a loud claim, more than 80% of those machines, they are reverse engineered. They are being developed here in Pakistan, and we even introduce some of the novel features in those machines so that we can file patents from here. Uh, so all the machines, they are being reverse engineering is a wrong word, because we developed those machines in Pakistan, and we filed patents for it. And now what we are doing, we are selling those machines to different medical device industries in Europe, and even in Middle East. The way I'm referring to Iran, that my team is going for this. They are setting up production facility of stents and catheters in Iran. They are also selling their machines over there. So that is actually another achievement which I'm very proud about. And let me share with you some of the examples that and some of the price comparisons. This is catheter trackability testing machine. This has been developed in my own research wing. The software is our own. It has been patented. Everything is whatever you can see here in this picture. We filed a patent for it, and the price comparisons you can see with your own eyes, that there's a remarkable and there's a significant difference between the imported ones and the one we developed here. So it is actually a very beautiful effort being made by my research team, because if now I'm also expanding my production area and my production facility. And we are not dependent upon European and German industrial partners now. We are using our own testing and our own production machines, and we are expanding our production facility. And even we are selling these machines to other manufacturers um, uh, uh, who are into stent and catheter business. So that's another machine. It's basically diagnostic catheter testing bench, and there's a physiologically simulated bed where, and there are sensors, and there are so you need to keep uh, uh, you need to actually sort of create a simulated environment so that the catheter will get tested under the same environment. So it's a very good machine, and we filed a patent for it. This machine, this machine in my this I hope that you can see this picture very clearly. This is a first of its kind. This is a novel concept because we sent our products and lots to the German testing lab, and they conducted this test manually. So this is an automated machine with a physiologically simulated bed, and there is a robotic arm which actually holds the catheter, and it actually sort of track the catheter within the mock arterial system within the physiologically simulated bed, and then it gives you graphs and tables about different contours within the mock arterial system, and it gives you how much newtons and how much force was used during the traction of the catheter and during the retraction of the catheter. So Germans, they conducted this test manually. So we, automated that test, and the entire testing protocol. And once we did that, we realized that this is the first concept in the world. So we filed patent for this machine, and we are selling it now because more people who are getting inventory, who are people who are engaged, who especially in Europe or in Gulf, in Middle East countries, uh, who are setting up production facility for catheters and stents, they are not getting this kind of inventory from anywhere because we are the only ones who are developing this machine because this is a novel concept. Thus, this machine is not a novel concept, uh, and this is a very common machine. Some of the European companies are also manufacturing and developing this machine. Same, this is a visual inspection unit. Every production facility needs this kind of visual inspection unit because in our production facility, there's 100% check. After there are like 38 processes. After every process, there is a quality control station which actually conducts number of tests. And once the lot is cleared from that QC station, then it goes to the next process. And and then it goes on and on and on. So this visual inspection machine is basically uh, highly, frequently used within the QC stations, and it was very expensive when we initially procured it from Europeans and from German companies, and we established our own visual inspection system. You can see here, and the software is our own proprietary software, and for the software we also filed a patent. And this is basically a stent fatigue testing machine with the mock arterial system with the you can see the extracorporeal fluid fluid circuit, and there is a artificial heart within this machine. It generates systolic and diastolic pressure, and there's an imaging system integrated with this machine. And there's a port from where you can deploy a stent within this circuit. And after the stent is deployed, then you can apply different pressure conditions, and you can even increase the frequency, and you can decrease the frequency. You can increase the systolic pressure or the diastolic pressure. And from the image system, you can check whether the stent is recoiling or migrating or slipping or not. So this is actually a machine, a very expensive machine, a very imported, very expensive imported machine, which we developed in our own research wing. And that is actually catheter hydrophilic polymer coating machine, and it coats polymer by using ultrasonic generator, which actually ultrasonically atomize which actually carries out a atomization process, and it sort of reduce the size of the droplet into nanoscale, and you get a very thin uh, coating of few microns, like 4 or 5 micron layer coating, which is needed and required in that application. And we developed this machine in our own premises, and I'm really proud to actually share it with you. And if you will come and see with your own eyes, you'll be amazed that these all technologies are being developed in my own in our research wing. Same goes for this machine. This is stent coating machine. The previous one was catheter coating machine. So as I've told you, there's a two-pronged approach in my research wing. One team is dedicated team which is constantly working on the upcoming products, and there's another team who are developing these kind of technologies so that we can expand cost effectively without dependency of any foreign industrial partner, and we can even sell these technologies to the world and set up new plants for the world the way we've started doing it now. So this is all we are till now. This is not actually journey of my career or my center. This is actually a journey of Pakistan. This is the only model. This is the only example in Pakistan which where you can come and see. And let me tell you, I'm not naming any company here, but there's a global US giant, medical device giant, who their vice president recently visited our facility, and they wrote us a letter, and I received that letter a few weeks ago, that they would like to partner with this with us, or either acquire it. Either they would like to partner with us, or either they would like to acquire our facility. So I think it's a major breakthrough for us, whether we go for that kind of partnership or we let them acquire us or not. But that letter is basically a certificate of my team's hard work and consistent support of my higher management, especially the ministers and federal government. There were like few very key figures who have been associated with me, and they helped me a lot during that process. So thank you very much uh, for your time. I think I'm done. And if you have any questions, the forum is open, so you can ask any if you have any questions.
Uh, Thank you very much, Dr. Najabat. I think you are a strong believer where there is a will, there is a way. And the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. And it's an unbelievable story, amazing story, very passionate journey. And I think Pakistan is proud of you. I think that's really amazing.
Thank
We
you.
have some question, but before that, we have with us as a panelist Mr. Asad Zaidi. He is also an entrepreneur and working in this field of medical devices. So I will request Asad Zaidi, please introduce himself and his organization, and comment about the development landscape in Pakistan in his own words and views. Dr. Asad Zaidi, please. Unmute, please.
Thank you very much, everybody, including Dr. Murtaza, for providing one of the, great insight into the work that he has done so far. I have only 3 points of views and one question. My first point of view is that if this is the amount of work and this is the type of the work that is being done in Pakistan, what are the key elements that will continue developing not one but multiple type of these industries in Pakistan, and how do you foresee the labor force, the technical people, the technocrats that make a large section of this industry? Are we producing in Pakistan enough quality control engineers, biomedical engineers, people who can actually do this work totally independently? So that's one, one point of view, or for you to please elaborate on it. Second is that why it is not possible for us or the people in North America, people in, in outside, to be able to truly gain the potential in Pakistan. Even though, I am a little bit away and, and detached and not, in the, directly related to Pakistan, but the work that is being done is not properly elaborated so far. I am amazed, totally amazed. I mean, I worked on catheter. I developed one of the first embolectomy catheters, working with Shiley and C.R. Bart. And the amount of the work that you are done, it is phenomenal. But at the same time, it needs to be multiplied. So I'm just trying to find out, the second thing is, why are we not able to find relatively more information on what it is that you are doing? Third point that that I wanted to make is that what it is that we, or APPNA, or let's say, people like myself, or people who are in biomedical engineering, or now getting into biomedical engineering away from Pakistan, for instance, in US and Canada, what it is that they could do in order to enhance and multiply what it is that you are doing over there. Because more and more people I see, several of the people, let's say within my own family, told me that they are, kids that they want to go into biomedical engineering. I've chaperoned and mentored about 6 of them in US. So those are 3 things. If you could elaborate that, it will probably clear a lot of things from my, at least from my perspective, and it will probably clear a lot from the people who are listening and who are on this seminar. I think if you could do that, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Asad Saab. It's a pleasure listening to you. And the 3 questions you asked, I deliberately missed those points in my presentation because I was hoping somebody will ask me these 3 questions. The first one is about the human capital, the human resource. Let me tell you, when I graduated way back in 2003, 2002, I had no platform in Pakistan to work and to, expand my potential. So I had to go back. I had to actually go abroad to UK, and I've, studied in 3 different universities. But this platform which we established, it is actually, yeah, I'm proud of most of the products which we have developed. But there's a thing which really give me a sigh of relief in that I've done something in my career, or probably I will leave some legacy here. That is actually the job creation. The biomedical engineers who graduated in Pakistan, who did their post-graduation in Pakistan, and even they did their PhDs in Pakistan, they had no job in Pakistan because in Sialkot surgical industry, they don't need para likha engineer. So they were just, working in hospitals as a service engineer and things like that. So I recruited those that potential, and I polished them, and I got them trained, and I sort of um, uh, work with them in their grooming. And there are like more than 55 people working in my setup right now, and we are going to recruit 20 more people for the next center. So these all of these students, they were graduated in Pakistani universities, and they were having no platform prior to that, but now they are working in their relevant industry. One. Number two, yeah, you've asked about the dissemination of this kind of information from government or from any source where the diaspora who's sitting outside is not aware of it. So that is actually a dilemma which I'm also facing. I've been working for the last 16 years. So it was a consistent and it was a very persistent effort which I made in the last 16 years. And it was yet very challenging because I established this facility not in private sector. I established this facility with the help and with the under the ambit of federal government. And it was very challenging. At times it was very frustrating. But now there is a ray of hope now, because this center has transformed into a company now. It has been, that company is registered with SCCP, and we've been now mandated, and we've been given another objective to partner with any private investor to jack up and to scale up this process. And within NUST, we've got SEZ, Special Economic Zones. And I've actually in talks with my higher management that they should give me few acres adjacent to my centers so that I can expand with the private sector capital investment. So now we can do it very amicably, because in my company, there is no intervention of any federal government now. We are autonomous company registered with SCCP, where we got a board of directors, and I being the chief executive officer, responsible for all the operations and management related affairs. So I think now it's the best time to expand it with the help of any relevant private sector investment. Because previously it was Medical Devices Development Center. It was a center developed by federal government, and there was the total control of that center was in the hands of federal secretaries and ministers. Now this company is quite autonomous. Thirdly, you've also asked about your second question was about that you are not aware of this kind of uh, activity happening in Pakistan. Let me tell you, a few weeks ago, when that vice president from US giant, there's a global giant company, medical device company, their vice president from Turkey, he flew here, and he got to somehow, fortunately, uh, know about this facility. So he contacted me, and I invited him, and he came to me, and I showed, and he visited, and I showed him the entire production facility, and I even took him to my research wing, where we were working with upcoming products and developing in different machines. So he was impressed, and he was having the same feeling the way you are actually sounding now, that he's been traveling for the last probably decade in Pakistan, and nobody told him that there is an effort being done at NUST University by somebody XYZ. So there is a system problem in Pakistan, that we don't project our strengths uh, globally. So we've got many strengths in Pakistan as far as agriculture, automotive, and other defense-related things are are concerned. But I've never seen people projecting, even in summers. You've got very good mangoes. You've got a very good citrus fruit. But I have not seen anybody, especially when I was in Europe and I was in UK. Nobody projected these kind of products in those countries, that we've got some that kind of specialty in Pakistan. So now I'm doing it on my own. You'll be meeting me in Arab Health now. You'll be seeing we'll be meeting each other in Europe PCR and TCT US, then Medica and forums like that, because we will have to do it on our own, because there is no such mechanism in Pakistan where you can project and you can disseminate that kind of information that you are doing that kind of work in Pakistan, unless or,
Indeed.
unless or until uh, there is a political, I'm sorry to say, interest is intact with that process.
Thank you, Dr. Najabat. We have with us Dr. Mustafa Siddiqui from APPNA Merit. Dr. Mustafa Siddiqui, please, you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Murtaza, and I appreciate the comments by Dr. Asad. It was a wonderful presentation and told us many things about product development. I have a couple of questions, and so I'm a neurologist, and I'm also on the faculty of biomedical engineering for Virginia Tech University. And one of the systems we have is that students from biomedical engineering, they come and shadow me. One of my specialties is deep brain stimulation. So they come shadow me. They when I'm seeing patients, they're shadowing me, and they are getting ideas about different things where they can uh, develop a product and those things. So my question was, does Pakistan medical schools and biomedical schools, they have some sort of that arrangement where there is sort of cross-shadowing each other? Because we as clinicians, we come out with ideas when we are dealing with a disease or we are dealing with a problem. And one of the things we lack is who should be contact, who's the biomedical engineer who can really transform our idea into something workable. So I think a system where both types of students, they meet each other is very important. In the same context, the second question is there any type of a conference in Pakistan in which the biomedical engineers as well as the clinicians, they come and actually get face-to-face, meet with each other and share their ideas with each other? And thirdly is really that the whole idea of these presentations is that right now I see there are about 60 participants. I'm sure all are interested in your talk. So after that, please share with us some information or contacts that, let's say anyone has an idea they want to run by someone from biomedical engineering, whether it's your lab or other people's labs or the government agencies. Please share with us so that we can share it with everyone. These videos get shared on YouTube as well. So the idea is to connect the clinicians with the biomedical engineers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ubaidullah. It's a good question, but unfortunately, I'm not having a good news because there is no formal system right now existing in Pakistan where you can cross-shadowing, where you can send your students to any professional or any operation theater or any cath lab or any hybrid lab where they can see that procedure and learn things practically. But in Pakistan, there is no such formal system, especially in biomedical engineering department where I'm teaching. I'm not actually head of department now because I've stepped down from that post voluntarily because I had to do a lot of these kind of things. And but another question was like, we are also operating and working as a developer for most of the people, like for people from Dubai, from professionals like you who are working in their own fields and they have an idea about any catheter or any device and they would like to develop it and to sell it to any industry for its mass production, for its commercial production. So we are giving that kind of services to that kind of groups and to even individuals. That the way you are a neurologist and you've been working with your field and through your experience you've come up with an idea that there should be a device for such and such application, but you have no idea how to design it, how to develop it, how to file patent for it, how to test it, and how to compile its reports, and how to sell that technology to any industry. So we can give you that kind of services, and we've been doing it for the last many years. And we are doing it for others. We are also doing it for ourselves. And some of the technologies we are developing it for people and for groups. So you can get benefit from that kind of service if you have any idea. But I hope I've answered your question, or you're still not yet convinced, or probably I have not conceived you properly. Could you please rephrase it or ask me again if certain portion of your question is unaddressed?
No, you have answered my question, and looks like there is a need for developing those areas in Pakistan, and this can be taken as one of the take-home messages that these are the things which both sides, med schools as well as biomedical colleges, they work on this thing. This type of things can be, we are developing a white paper out of these presentations. And at the end, we are going to give a, like a advice to the government based on what you guys tell us. And these are going to be things which we are going to include in our white paper. So thank you very much.
So what we have done, we have set up a precedence in Pakistan. You can use this thing as an example, and sort of consult and coordinate with the government that they should also do it in a formal way.
Thank you. We have a question from Professor Dr. Zulfikar Bhutta that, just attending your very passionate story, he has a question that from a national perspective, do we have some strategic planning about the medical devices, national plan, and then we can build on it? So because these are, one-man journey and realizing the need and, then prioritizing and building the capacity and all those things. So what's your view? Because you are at that level where you are in contact with all the top political leader, bureaucracy, and all those things. So is there any national vision or a strategic planning on medical devices?
I'm not aware of anything because I've been working with the federal government and with ministries, and but I've not learned such a national strategy as far as the medical devices are concerned. I don't think so. There is any, but we do have I have my own plan. I'm working with my own 5 years and 10 years plan, where I would like to jack up these things and to introduce more technologies and products into my system, and so that I can float it into the market, into the Pakistani market, because most of our customer is deprived. These devices and these products are inaccessible to most of the patients in Pakistan. So we have come up with our own 5 years and 10 years plan, but I'm not aware of any national level strategy with respect to medical devices.
So may I request Dr. Bhutta to really directly ask his question? So that will be more appropriate really to explain further. So Dr. Bhutta, can you please ask your question by yourself? Vileet, can you unmute Dr. Professor Zulfikar Bhutta?
So I must say, this was one of the most useful presentations I've attended, partly for what it said and partly for what it didn't say. But like any other journeys of entrepreneurs, it's full of things that I mentioned in my question seem to be happenstance, opportunity, context, what you know in one particular point in time. So my question really to our worthy speaker is, what systematic effort has been made to engage healthcare professionals in your journey around filling a technology gap or a national production? And I'll tell you, I set up newborn care, intensive care in Pakistan 35 years ago. And so I know that landscape very well. And we have annual conferences of neonatologists where, presentations such as yours and learning also what the needs are would be phenomenally beneficial. And I think, therefore, there is a need in various areas for a little bit of a systematic landscape analysis, discipline by discipline. What are the needs in particular areas? I can tell you in neonatal pediatrics, you mentioned the important contribution you made with the phototherapy units, maybe low-cost incubators. But at this point in time, one of the biggest bottlenecks in the country as it gears up to moving from community-based to facility-based care is the requirement around CPAP, oxygen administration, the kind of things you were talking about that could be the difference between which baby survives in a district hospital or does not. And that cannot be done by just somebody approaching you. It has to be done by reaching out to the professional bodies that exist in the country, whether they are nephrologists, urologists, or neonatologists, is to invest that effort in a dialogue and then coming up with something which has then the professional society support. So if I may say, doing it in isolation from an angle of developing products that you yourself think may be useful for either national or international market is always fraught with the risk that, as Zaidi Saab said, that nobody may know about it. So I would make a very strong recommendation that now that you have become a center of excellence and a group that, with credibility, that take that next step and sit down with professional bodies in the countries and see what their needs are emerging, and both in the public and private sector. And if it is something that can bridge the gap, I mean, more often than not, you will have the people from the US coming to want to take you over because you also represent a threat. I mean, they would take you over tomorrow and shut you down. But, as a national need, we need to protect people like yourselves and group like yourselves for basically national security needs and the needs for healthcare in the future. So I'm sorry if I did not make it clear in my written question. I wanted this to be a very bilateral effort with a deliberate reaching out to ICU professionals engaged in the kind of technology-based care that is so evident now in the post-COVID era, and see if you can come up with a short list of things that are currently being entirely imported. And they range also from not just technology equipment, they also range from infusion devices, cannulas. As far as I understand, in pediatrics, 100% of all cannulas that are being used in health system today are imported, just like 100% of all PCR kits in the country are imported.
Yes.
That's been the difference between the scale of testing between Pakistan and India. We could not really get up to rapid testing. So I'll stop at that, but that's what I meant by saying, have we built those collaborations?
I wanted to interject, Dr. Bhutta, your point is very well taken, and I wanted to, bring Dr. Murtaza's attention. One of the key things was, how are you setting up yourself to be multiplied? Because if you are setting up just one industry and, and you have taken this thing on yourself, I see a lot of individual pride, what you have done. But I personally think that community around, experience around the world in US and other places, if somehow we can coordinate and see how we can multiply this effort that you have done, because you're not going to be there for a long time. We're not going to be here for a long time. However, if a mechanism is set in place that can actually move those wheels that are just started to move a little bit in order for us to get to a large scale, not only research, but production, similar to what Turkey has done in their country. One of my friends actually went to Turkey and set up extrusion plant in order to make catheters and, and tubes. So I think, Uzair, your effort in putting this thing together should continue. I'm looking forward to the seminar that I would like to that I would do. But I think a centralized effort, especially by APPNA, to create a biomedical engineering development work that Dr. Bhutta said, there's so many of the products that can actually be developed, and that cannot be done by just one Dr. Murtaza Najabat Ali. We need like about 100 of you.
Thank you, Asad Zaidi. Now we have with us Dr. Mariam Motan. She's a cardiologist and she is a APPNA representative here as well. She had something to add. May I request Dr. Mariam, please, to unmute and share your views.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I really appreciate all the effort that is being put on by Murtaza Najabat Ali. We need people like him to come up to the forefront. Having been invited to TCT is a big privilege. As you know, it is an area where only a selected few are invited. And I hope you're not coming in just to set up a booth, but will present your stuff onto the Shark Tank and let it be known that yes, Pakistan is there for everyone and we will be doing our work to the best of our ability. It is important in order to succeed that you get involvement of the societies in Pakistan, the Cardiac Society in Pakistan, to get involved in your project, getting the stents, getting the catheters, getting all the balloons. You know how hard it is. We have a lot of difficulty getting them transferred from USA onto Pakistan for people that need it because of all the issues with the customs. So if you are able to produce them locally, it will help the local people a lot. And I really, really appreciate all the endeavors that you're putting forward together. Also being invited to EuroPCR, that's a big privilege. And I hope you're going to make us all proud.
Thank you, ma'am, for your nice compliments, and I'm really glad that Zulfikar Bhutta gave me a very valuable suggestion. I'm already having a scientific advisory committee comprising of different physicians in Pakistan. Some of them, they are part of the board, my company's board of directors. And the reason why I've been absent in most of the forums for in the last previous few years, with the reason was that I was working day and night to reach to this stage and to this level. Now I'm reaching out to APPNA and people like you, and I'm reaching out to other physicians and professionals so that we can jointly deliberate on few technologies and future ventures and endeavors, and then we can multiply this effort. And secondly, Asad Saab, now I would really like to expand this whole concept, and as I've told you that I'm already in talks with my higher management, that they have given me few acres adjacent to my centers, which are under special economic zone. So that means we are not liable to pay any duties and taxes in that land. So that's a big advantage if we will expand and we will set up something there which will fulfill the requirement of the local market, and that will also represent Pakistan in different forums like TCT and EuroPCR, and we'll get into exports. And this is going to be a trend setting for people like other biomedical engineers like me, who are in North America or other parts of the world, that if this can happen, anything can happen in Pakistan. So this is going to be a sort of confidence building. What do you call it? It's a precedence which we have set up. It's a trend setting initiative which we have done. So I think there is a lot of room for all of us to work together, to deliberate together, and to launch things like that.
Thank you, Dr. Najabat. We have with us Dr. Ubaidullah, who is a Director Registration from Drug Regulatory Authority, Pakistan. So my question to Dr. Ubaidullah is that as far as I know, there is no reference lab for medical device testing. So this is an opportunity that there is a good quality lab available with Dr. Murtaza Najabat Ali, and you can get your product testing. There should be a user fee and they can generate some revenue out of those services. So this should be an approved, validated lab. So what's your view on this?
Thank you very much, Dr. Uzair. In fact, we have rightly pointed out about the referral lab, and probably DESTO has been the licensed for this outsource testing of medical devices as well. As far as NUST facility is concerned, I was a witness when the Stent facility was inaugurated by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And as far as this testing facility is concerned, if NUST facility or some other laboratory wants to have license from the DRAC, then there is very much provision in the legislation, and we can help any lab to get it done certification for the DRAC as well.
Great. So that's a great. We have with us Dr. Farid Suri. Do you have something to say?
Thank you, Dr. Uzair. I think I've been in touch with Dr. Najabat, and we have been we have been brainstorming some ideas about how we can develop some different kind of stents. And it's an excellent resource. And we were kind of like, one of the things that we were wondering, and that's probably a question for Dr. Abadullah, is that if we develop something that's completely new that has never been in the market and even in the international market. I mean, it's similar to what has already been existing, but it's something we developed with Dr. Najabat. And will that be? It's in US, in the FDA, you get an IDE, investigational device exemption, and you can do a clinical trial on that. But apparently in Pakistan, you would need to have the company registered and the device registered. And is there any channel that we can have that kind of like a device as a IDE comparable to IDE, where we don't have a manufacturer need to be registered? The device can undergo an IDE process and can be clinically tested.
Well, as far as the trial is concerned, there are two things. One is the approval of the product for the commercialization, then this different channel. But if you want to have your product approved for some trial, definitely there should be some reference primarily required, whether you want to compare your product with some other product, apple to apple comparison for that very purpose. But if your equipment or device which you want to introduce in the market have some basics, results and data with you, then clinical trial committee and board is very much there, and which have on the board some experts are there, then they evaluate. Definitely it will be first of its kind in Pakistan, but DRAP can intervene and DRAP can help in this regard for the approval of the clinical trial, surely.
Thank you. So we are much behind the time schedule. So the last comment and the offer is from Asad Zaidi. Asad Zaidi, can you unmute and please share your offer really for the internship in your company, and all type of information and technical support that will be very helpful to all the people.
Yes, we have at Epinex, it's a facility over here around 6,000 square foot. I have been, instrumental in getting interns from University of California, Irvine, and California State University, Fullerton, gone through about 150 interns over the last 17 years. Some of them right now are professors at Notre Dame. Some of them have become patent engineers. Some of them are now vice presidents of engineering at companies like Medtronic and things like that. So it's a very small effort in bringing people within the industry area, device development and diagnostics, and putting them through a personal development program and a professional development program where they can align themselves according to what their skill set is, and also to have them chart a path, a career path or direction. Because I myself, was an undergraduate at University of California, Irvine, didn't know anything except I wanted to do biomedical engineering. And, and somehow I continued to dwell into that environment, developed artificial heart valves and catheters, and half of the stuff that Dr. Murtaza is doing right now was done. I am very convinced that biomedical engineering is going to be at the forefront of technological development for any other developing countries like Pakistan, only because hospitals needs to be connected with machines, machines needs to be connected with people, people needs to be, connected with institutions, and the development of therapies, device-based therapies, infusion, diagnostics, your intensive care unit material, all of these things, wirelessness around the whole environment. This is where the future is, and this is where the technology is going to go to. So if anybody is in this particular area, they can contact me. They can go on my website, epinx.com, and I posted even my phone number. They can call me. I can, if there are certain people that are away from, from Irvine and other places, I can definitely talk to them, or at least give them counsel in terms of what sort of courses and what are the things that we need right now. One of the hottest area that I would urge both the medical students and also students in undergraduate who are trying to become medical, going to biomedical field, is to look into electrochemical diagnostics, nanotechnology, tissue engineering, molecular engineering, MEMS, which is micro machine, small, very, very micro level, pumps and mechanism. There is a wealth of information available on the internet, and then also obviously when they do internship at any medical device company in your area. If you are an undergraduate, always look into trying to get some sort of an undergraduate internship somewhere. The last thing, especially since our audience are either doctors or aspiring doctors or doctors that are looking to innovate, I will be presenting a seminar, I believe, on November 6th, where one of the key factors going to be is to creating a funnel of ideas, creating an environment of ideation amongst the doctors who they think that they can innovate, because all the products that Dr. Murtaza has made so far, they were innovative at one time. They're no longer innovative, perhaps like ventilator, but at one time they were very innovative. Well, the era that we are in right now is forcing us to innovate, is forcing us to come up with new things. And guess who comes up with new things? The people who are actually using it, doctors. And then when they find, look, this cannula can actually be enhanced by having this type of a connector, or this disease can actually be used, this disease can actually be treated by this kind of a device. These are the type of the innovations that we need. And I am very positive that at this moment, APPNA's capital and brain capital and professional capital is more than ample, more than enough, if the members truly want to advance the technology, instead of having high luxurious parties at their houses that don't mean anything. They need to innovate. They need to have forums. They need to go out there and talk to the new students. My own niece is getting into Tulane University, going into as a medicine, but at the same time she wants to do minor while she's going to be a doctor in biomedical engineering. So all I'm saying is that APPNA has forces, APPNA has resources, APPNA has power, and that power needs to be utilized in the type of the work that Dr. Murtaza is doing, and hoping that that power can actually instigate multiplication of Dr. Murtaza Najabat Ali.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank
Let
you.
me, I would like to, sorry, Dr. Uzair, I'm interjecting here. Let me share with you about the team I sort of established over the last few years. It's basically a turnkey contract from the classroom, because I've been teaching in biomedical engineering for the last many years in postgraduate, MS, master's level, and PhD. So some of the courses I'm taking for PhD. So it's basically a turnkey sort of contract between the student and me, that from the classroom to the research labs for the next few years. And once they are equipped and they are trained and they are ready for production, then I, sort of bring those candidates into the production. And for my research labs, I get new ones. So it's a traffic for the, which I'm handling for the last 4 or 5 years, in especially in a university like NUST. So that is actually my trade secret. I prepare teams and I prepare individuals for specific tasks. And that candidate, he or she has to go through some academic, some research lab related projects, some trainings abroad, local, and then finally they resort into the production area. So if you will come, Dr. Fareed Suri probably has already visited my facility. If you will come, 90% of the people working in my facility, they are all my students. And that I'm proud of, because, this is what we all should, the way the Mr. Asadadi stipulated shortly, that, we need to train young people, that what kind of subjects they should take and what kind of experience, they should be, they should be engaged in that kind of activities as far as the research is concerned, because and especially ideas. I showed you some of the products, but I'm really sorry. I thought probably I'm having a limited time, so I'm not sharing with you my academic journey. I'm not sharing with you with all the research papers I published and all the prototypes and proof of concepts I developed through those papers, because it's going to be, I would need another hour to discuss those technologies with you. But the thing is that if you have a will, you can do that. Because when I developed the first stent in Brunel University way back in 2006, and I decided that I'm going to set up this industry in Pakistan. And I went through a process which was very frustrating at times. It was very painful at times, but I was consistent. And I'm really glad and I'm really grateful to Almighty that He has given me this chance, and to see the manifestation, the realization of that effort and that concept which I had in my mind a decade of more than a decade ago.
Thank you very much, Dr. Murtaza Najabat Ali, Dr. Asad Zaidi, Professor Bhutta, Dr. Fareed Suri, Dr. Mariam Motan, Abedullah Saab. So it was indeed a pleasure, and I think it was a very well-meaning session today. It's a way forward to achieving something. So we are thankful to all the participants as well for their passionate listening, and we look forward to have similar activities in future. So take care and goodbye, and thank you very much to all of you, and have a good day or a good night depending upon where you are. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Player talking to you, Asad, Mrs. Asad, Miss Mariam, Dr. Fareed, Mr. Zulfikar Bhutta. It's an honor having you here, and I'm trying to be a part of APPNA convention by the end of this month, or probably earlier next month, and probably this will give us another opportunity to shed light on further things which we have not discussed in this forum.
Thank you very much to all of you. Take care and have a